I'm Giant, and I'm going to be saying my comic books are a timeless form of media. Because of anime and manga doing better than cartoons and comic books at the current time of recording of this video, me is going to be saying how they can make it that comic books and cartoons are better than manga and anime again. I'll also be doing some memes to show the current state of these things, and show you some clips of animation from these things to show how good they really are. And some songs because of it going perfectly with these things, and just so, oh wait, that's so good with these things too. And if there's any video that doesn't have a song, you should check the description in the link below for it, because me only putting them there to avoid copyright issues. And I will be talking about comic books as a whole in this video because I already did a bunch of other videos about animation in general. And I'm going to be mainly talking about Marvel and DC and how they can do crossovers with other companies, is because those are the two best comic book companies. And they are the ones everyone thinks about when they think about comic book like superheroes and supervillains. I'm not saying the other comic book companies aren't good too. DC and Marvel are just better. The other comic book companies are good, but to show other comic book companies are still good too. And to show there are other superheroes. And if you ever need anything different, they're the thing for it. I mean, my dream is to become a famous animator and to do my own animation company, to do my own cartoon shows, and to do superhero comic books. I mean, I know my comic book company will never be as good as the two big ones, so that's why I'm setting for the third best comic book company. And I know my rogues galleries aren't going to be the best rogues galleries because Batman already has the best rogues gallery, so me going for the most overpowered rogues gallery. I know my superheroes and supervillains won't be as iconic as the main ones, but it would be good if they're at least as third as iconic as them. I know not everybody do as good as Stan Lee, but I'm not going to let that stop me from doing my best. So I do know how good it is there being other comic book companies than Marvel and DC. I'm just acknowledging how good Marvel and DC are. It is a fact that other comic book companies are good too. I'm just acknowledging that DC and Marvel are being the best companies is a fact. So how you would do Marvel comic books better is you not doing a #1 issue of everything and you just going back to the usual number you were at before, with how many issues there was of it before. Or the ones you already did a #1 issue of everything and it would just be of its own series, or any other comic books afterwards would just go back to its original series that it came from. Still do different volumes of it, but you keeping the numbering the same. For hardcore fans, this would be good, and for new comic book readers, you get the best of both worlds. And they need to start copying everything from the MCU and just do stuff original or different from the MCU's continuity and the things they do there. Like if you do cartoon show in Marvel, it should take inspiration from the comic books, not the MCU, and stop putting everything in the MCU in the comic books because not everything from the MCU is good, you know. And with some shows, it really should just be dark and serious, not everything has to be goofy and lighthearted. And if you're going to take inspiration from anything, then you should take inspiration from the cartoon shows at Marvel, the good ones. Like Spectacular Spider-Man and Avengers as Mightiest Heroes, only in style and tone for these cartoon shows, and actually the MCU really should be taking inspiration from that too. Because the MCU is doing terrible at the time of recording of this video, and this would be just the thing it needs to start becoming good again. I mean, the Justice League already did the shared universe thing before the MCU, in the cartoon show part of it. The DCAU, it ended years ago and people are still saying how good the DCAU is, or people already didn't like the MCU, but now everyone hates the MCU at the time of recording of this video. So they should also take inspiration from the DCAU with not making everything as a joke and stop overthinking everything and just trying to make it work. And if they acknowledge something, you should do something about it to get it to make sense as much as possible. I mean, X-Men the animated series is the best version of the X-Men, so they should take inspiration from that of how to do the X-Men in the MCU. And Avengers as Mightiest Heroes is already better than the MCU's version of the Avengers, before they even did the MCU version of the Avengers. And it even got cancelled because of the MCU, and we got a bunch of terrible cartoon shows because of the MCU's Avengers. So you should at least do this and acknowledge how good they are, to acknowledge they are better than the MCU versions of the Avengers, and that It's My Heroes version of the Avengers is the best version of the Avengers. And for a big fat I'm sorry to that version of the Avengers. It should be the perfect way and a good reason for you to bring back Avengers It's My Heroes. It did get cancelled before it was able to end goodly. And the X-Men are getting a chance to end there is so good because of them bringing back the original X-Men animated series is for the sequel, so X-Men 97. Taking place a few years after the original one, so if they can do that, then of course they can bring back It's My Heroes, but because of it being a more modern show. And you do definitely owe the fans this. Then you should also take advantage of there being so many legacy characters as in the Marvel Universe, but to make them different from the original Marvel characters. And not taking over the mantle, them just sharing it with the main characters. That's why Batman Beyond and Miles Morales were so good, and so they really should be copying those guys and should be doing the same thing with the other Marvel characters, with the legacy characters that are already there, especially since they already failed terribly at it before. And I'm actually okay with Marvel not doing sidekicks, actually them not being well known for sidekicks, because Stan Lee hated sidekicks. He thought they took something away from the heroes. So that's why I almost know Marvel superhero has a sidekick. So you should do these superheroes with their partners, but you treating them as equal superheroes to each other. And their partners should also have a different enough personality from them, but still similar, because that's the Marvel way. You're just showing how their personalities are different, and them actually interacting great because of them having the same personalities. And them hang out with their superhero partners as members of the superhero family. Spider-Man Miles Morales, he shares the mantle with Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and they're both the main Spider-Man of the Marvel Universe. Just Peter Parker's Spider-Man became a fully established superhero, and got a hang of it. Usually within the same dimension, and him becoming a mentor to Miles Morales' Spider-Man. While Miles Morales' whole thing is him being from another dimension, and him being similar to the early days of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's Amazing Spider-Man one. Until he became a fully established superhero, and being one of the most iconic guys of how to do someone new taking up the mantle of an original superhero, and how to do using the mantle with an iconic superhero who didn't have a lot of superheroes before him, and who had the same mantle, and it just being those two having the mantle, not like more than one person, like with the Green Lantern Corps or the Robins. Him being different from Spider-Man because of him being even more of a jokester than Spider-Man. Him acknowledging what if something goes wrong with something. And with him actually having some things different than Spider-Man, like for example his Uncle Prowler is a supervillain, and while Spider-Man became a superhero because of his Uncle Ben. And Miles does have some different powers that are still Spider-themed, other than just the usual Spider-Man powers that Peter Parker has. And for the Hulk, it's good him dating Red She-Hulk because of her being Betty White, so it's good them both being Hulks now and him dating his girlfriend. And it's good him hanging out with Rick because they were already best friends. Now Rick can just defend himself because of him being a superhero, a different kind of Hulk. Scott is different from the original Hulk because of him having magic powers, him being Wonder Hulk, him being part alien, him being savage, and him also being a warrior, and him also having a sword. And for him just being a kid that turns into a grown-up Hulk body, and with him always being a Hulk. And because he's not too bright, but he is smarter than the usual Hulk. And he is the Hulk's son, and would have been an alien prince of his planet. And it's good Hulk hanging out with Red Hulk because of them finally bearing the hatchet between each other, and then finally becoming friends, and he is Betty Wash's barber. And General Wash has just finally admits is that he was wrong about the Hulk because of the Hulk being a good person, and because he found out how bad it is to be a Hulk. So that's the real story of Red Hulk, and why Red Hulk is so good, and why it's good he finally started trying to blow up the Hulk. And that's what made him different from the original Hulk. And while Marvel still should keep a modern look, they really should just keep it by modernizing the original comic books. They really shouldn't try to make everything take place at a different point in time. Keep putting it in the modern day. and making it have something to do with modern events, or for example, them keep changing which war the Marvel characters were originally a part of. You should just make it they also took place during the 60s, which actually makes more sense because of the radiation at the time. Yes, you should make it because of it being comic books, and that's just how their timeline works. X in comic books. That after a certain point in time, they just stop aging. And you could just prove the theory right that Franklin and Richards just keeps the universe young and how he wants it because of him being a godlike being. That even he doesn't know that he's doing this because of him doing it subconsciously. And it's good that Marvel did the political storylines. I actually really like that Marvel tackled political issues. Although I do agree that they did have better stories than some of the modern political issues ones. I definitely don't think it should be the usual, and I do agree they've been doing it way too much lately. They really should just stop doing that for a while and just focus on doing good stories again. Then they should wait a long time and only occasionally do political storylines for a big storyline. And after that, they should only on occasion do the political storylines for a really big event. I mean, political issues is a very serious thing to tackle. So you should only use it sparingly and make sure you do it good when you do it. Because it would be bad if you got sick and tired of that, and to be true, a bunch of the time, us just wanting to be entertained by something. So you don't want people to be sexist or racist the other way, or us having to deal with the cringe. Especially since one of the things that makes Marvel different from DC is that they deal with more real-world problems. They already do a good job of tackling people being different in general with the mutants. And they already worry enough about paying the bills with guys like Spider-Man. And for guys who find out how good their powers really are, that's with guys like Thing and Hulk. And they already deal with what it's like to be a teenager in the Marvel Universe, as with guys like Spider-Man, even in the modern day with Morales' Spider-Man, and guys like Kamala Khan. And how it works in the Marvel Universe is after 10 years, after you introduce a character and fully establish them into the Marvel Universe, they start aging in real time during that time. After those 10 years, they stop aging and become officially a part of the Marvel Universe. So you should make it during those 10 years is when they start fleshing these characters out, and when they start getting the hang of these things. Then after those 10 years is not only do you do them stop aging in real time, but you also do them being a fully established character, them already getting the hang of these things, and them being fully experienced with them only keeping their personality traits that are good about them. You can still have them doing some mistakes, but only because they're human and only reasonable mistakes. Not personality flaws as that they already grew out of. Or flaws they originally did that would be a straight up stupid mistake now. Because if you did that, the Marvel characters would get their happy endings in the end. And there would be no character regression in the Marvel Universe. This would also get you to respect the iconic superheroes more, and get you to do a good job of introducing the new characters instead of doing terrible things and too big of a risk with the original characters. And it's good you continuing on the storyline after their happy endings, you just keeping them where they were at their happy endings, just doing the usual superhero things. And you also exploring their life after they have their happy endings, like you exploring them of what it's like with them having a family. And you have them dealing with being a superhero and being a family man. The old expression is wrong, with there being a difference between a happy ending and a bad ending with knowing when to end the storyline. In this occasion, because if you continue on with this storyline, it would be good just as long as you don't undo the original happy ending of it. There's some things that expression is right, but also with some things that expression isn't right with, because that's just how expression as well as some of them work in general. The thing with forms of media is with cartoon shows, and other shows, as they have a beginning, middle, and end, but comic books are so good because they can go on forever. And in video games and in movies, it's kind of a combo of those two. With stuff like the MCU, it can go on forever because of them just using new superheroes, and that's just how the comic books work. But with the DC EU live action movie universe, they would need to reboot it because that's how the comic books work, and so them being able to use the same iconic superheroes just with different actors, is they would end it, but they would still be doing more movies with it because they would reboot it. And with video games, you can do a whole series of them, but you can also do a whole other series of them and another continuity of them based on the same thing. And so while they would have an ending, you're just doing another one of them and another continuity, so it never ending there too. And with comic books, this is where they get all the stuff for the other forms of media that they adapt them into. The reason why comic books are so good is because they've been going on for a long time and people being able to get so much out of them. It's good comic books evolving throughout the time like the other generations in real life, and then being able to touch so many people's lives because of them going on for so long. So if you did this, not only would you still have that, but also Iron Man, and would finally stop acting like a jerk face. Professor X's dream would finally come true, of mutants and humans living peacefully together in coexistence. The X-Men have been going through this for a while, and they have already suffered enough for it to happen. And so they can prove Magneto and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants wrong that no, it can happen. The mutants have already suffered enough for this to happen, and they've already proven themselves enough for it to happen. Especially with how they interact with the other Marvel superheroes. And also, Stan Lee created the X-Men and to tackle racism, which is a conflict that hit it close to his heart. And this was done back in the 60s, so even if you do, there's still being some people who are racist against mutants, you doing that people aren't as racist to mutants as they used to be, like how people aren't as racist as nowadays. If you do this, the Hulk will finally be seen as a hero, and people will finally start calling him a monster, and Bruce Banner will finally be okay with the Hulk. Not just because there's no cure for it, but because he knows the Hulk is a good person, and that he really should do a better job of understanding the Hulk, and him just being a part of him now. And for the Hulk to finally get his happy ending with Betty Ross. The fans have been wanting Spider-Man to grow up and to have a family with Mary Jane for quite some time now. That's why Spider-Man Life Story, it was one of his best storylines in the modern day. It's one of the best alternate universes in Spider-Man's comic book history. It's because of him growing up and having kids with Mary Jane, like Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, and the Spider-Woman in universe as Mayday Parker. So if you did this, not only would you bring them into their timeline, but also Spider-Man would start making the same mistakes because of it. And Marvel already did it's Spider-Man getting married to MJ, but then they undid it, so this would be a good way for them to undo that and to undo their mistake. And to get back into continuity. But you need to do this just to give the fans what they want for them. Plus, Stan Lee originally did Spider-Man, so him aging with the audience. And for us seeing him at the end of this journey, so if you do this, we'd still see him at the end of his journey, but us still being able to get more things out of him. Plus, the whole point of the Marvel characters is to be relatable and to see them get the hang of these things. This way, you'd still see them get the hang of these things, them just becoming fully established superheroes at the end, and they wouldn't do the same mistakes so many times that they would be unrelatable because of them being experienced now. And you just take advantage of them having more experience than they did before, because of them growing throughout the times, and them finding some things out. Plus, Spider-Man has already fought pretty hard to be with Mary Jane, and so it's good him finally getting Mary Jane if you do this. And you'd also be able to add something new to Spider-Man with him becoming a barber, and him needing to deal with being a family man and being a superhero. With him needing to find a balance between it, and because of his kids becoming superheroes too. And Spider-Man has already suffered enough. There's a huge difference between in character development and by doing things to your characters, and you just treating your characters horribly and just torturing your characters. The character development thing, at least, is you're getting something out of it and you're fleshing them out more. But with the idea stuff, if you're just treating them horribly and doing terrible things to your characters, the fans care about these characters too, you know, and you should care about your characters, because if you did, then you would get good stories out of it. You really should just get people who are comic book fans to do these things. because then they wouldn't do 10 mistakes someone who isn't a comic book fan would do, and they would also know what to do with these characters because they know them so well because of them being a fan of these characters. And Spider-Man is Marvel's most iconic superhero, and he's the main Marvel superhero. Also, it's good him being fully established and him being treated like a fully established character. And him also being a part of the Avengers for how him being able to balance being a superhero with being a family man. With also his kids being superheroes also being a huge part of that and a good part of that. And his kids should grow up in real time, but after a certain point in time them just stop aging when them becoming grown-ups. And at a part of grown-ups when them still being too young to have kids. So you would do the original idea of Franklin Richards, which is someone for the readers to grow up with. But this way you would make it that they don't get older than Spider-Man and they're not dying of age before Spider-Man. And you making it obvious that so the kids are Spider-Man. So yeah, they really should just acknowledge that Spider-Man is a fully established character now, and they should just let Spider-Man grow up. And it would be good him getting his happy ending with Aunt Mary Jane.
This is actually the freaky part. And it's all just been one big dream. So none of that really happened. I never actually busted Phineas and Ferb. I am so happy.
Well, I don't need safety gloves because I'm Homer Simpson.
I know you. You're my mechanic, Junior.
Frank Grimes, Jr.
Frank Grimes.
Don't you remember? Your ape-like incompetence drove my father insane.
Frank Grimes.
What's this? Extremely high voltage. Well, I don't need safety gloves because I'm Homer Simpson.
Oh, yeah. How is old Grimy?
He's dead, like you should be.
Whoop! Oh, wait. Frank Grimes wasn't married. How could he have a son?
He happened to like hookers, okay?
You thought we were building a robot to beat yours? In 45 minutes? How dumb do you think we are? We were just building a can opener. And you were cocky enough to let me get close enough to do this. All yours, Noodle.
Flopper slug on me!
Jim O'Shane had grown old and weak. He was of little consequence until there was a changing of the guard. The new Shane was more of a complication.
I am not thief or assassin. I am an X-Man.
I am the entity known to you as Phoenix. To save all that exists, I became one with Jean Grey. We preserved the crystal, but I discovered an element humans call emotion. I lost my way. Now that the fire within Jean Grey has been extinguished, I am as I was, guardian of creation.
And what about Jean? Or are the dreams of a mortal beneath your notice?
The radiance within her is no more. It can be rekindled only by taking the flame from another. Scott?
Jean. Oh, Jean.
I love sorry. My head. These images. What's happening to me? What am I? Who am I? Now hurry, I have a friend who can help you. I'll take you to her. I don't know. All this is happening so fast. Some friendly advice, Teach? Don't mess with the rogue!
You're the one in Rogue's dream! Who are you? Why don't you show yourself? You already know me, son. No! No, it's impossible!
Going somewhere? Me and Kurt have a few questions we need you to answer.
I'm afraid it's too late for answers. Far too late.
Just lean back and close your eyes.
We're going to take this slowly. Just listen to the ocean, the waves, the breeze. That's right. Clear your mind. I want you to lead me, Scott. None of them mattered anymore. Jean took all the pain away.
Warren, please! This isn't like you.
The damage we cause, the lives we ruin. Maybe we're the problem.
Come out! The Black Panther is ready for you!